Hey everybody, so today I'm here to give you guys an exclusively pumping update. I realized that I haven't really touched on how things have been going. I know I've said a few things here and there throughout her updates or the last time I did a postpartum update, which I can't remember when that is, but nothing kind of in depth, and honestly a lot has been going on since the last time I talked about it. So I just wanted to kind of give you guys an update because I've been really frustrated lately, and I actually already made this. It was supposed to go up last week, but while editing it, it came across entirely wrong. It came off as though like I was angry or upset, or I was like talking kind of aggressively towards you guys, and that wasn't the case. I was just like envisioning myself the whole time because I am still kind of upset with myself, but now it's been getting better. That day that I recorded it, I just really needed to talk. I needed to get it off my chest, and I feel like a lot of people don't understand a lot of things when it comes to exclusively pumping, but you guys always get me. So I just kind of came on here and I word vomited and I was venting, and it just kind of came across not great. So I decided not to put it up. So I'm here today in a little bit better of a mindset, a little bit more calm and not so intense this time. So yeah, let's just go ahead and get started. So I just wanted to kind of bring you guys up to speed, but after Thanksgiving, but before Christmas, I started to notice a decrease in my supply, about 2 ounces from each side, so 4 ounces collectively. And even though I am an oversupplier, and even though with that I was still an oversupplier, it's still a considerable amount. And I think everyone can agree that anytime you lose ounces and it's not intentional, it's stressful. So that happened, and then right after that, after I noticed it, I should say, she got sick, and then she was not sleeping well and all this kind of stuff. So there was a lot going on, and it made for a really stressful time. But basically, I was struggling figuring out why I was losing these ounces, and it wasn't until I really started paying attention to what I was doing and what I had been doing leading up to it, and I realized that I wasn't keeping any kind of schedule, just pumping whenever I pleased. That's not how it works. And I know better. Like, it was so hypocritical. I come on here and I tell you guys all the time how important it is to keep a schedule and this, that, and whatever. And I just did whatever I wanted. It wasn't anything that I did intentionally. When I stepped back and I realized that my attitude was just, it'll be fine. I have an oversupply. I've done this 3 times before. And I don't know why I would think that. I know better. Like, my schooling has taught me that. My experience has taught me that. Like, just everything. I know better. So I'm not quite sure why I had that attitude. Obviously, it didn't do anything but hurt my supply. So I was really annoyed with myself. I was really frustrated and angry because I just know better. And I don't know when that mindset started to settle in. I don't know why, but it just did. And then I didn't notice until all of a sudden I was losing 4 ounces. And that's exactly, well, not exactly. It's kind of what happened with Sophie. With Sophie, my oldest daughter, I didn't know anything about exclusively pumping. I didn't know how to do it. The whole premise of why I made this channel and why I wanted to make EP videos. And I was pumping whenever. I thought you just pumped whenever your breast got really full and like you're maybe a little uncomfortable. I thought that meant that it was time to pump, and that's not the case. And when I was doing that with Sophie, I realized that my supply was very quickly diminishing because that's what will happen. And then I just started doing that with Lexi, and it was like, I know better this time. I really do. And I don't have an explanation for it, but either way, once I noticed it, obviously I stopped. I went back to an every 3 hour schedule, except for my stretch at night, and I'll kind of bring you guys up to speed as to like what my schedule is now here in a second, but just to kind of get you to where we are today. Yeah, I had to go back to an every 3 hour schedule. I got like very strict about it. It was a long couple of weeks, and it wasn't until around that end of the 2 weeks that I started to see my supply come back. I think my period also had a little to do with it as well, because in that time I also did have a period, and I've noticed that this time more than others, I've always noticed a decrease in my supply around my period. It can be totally normal, but I've never seen one so substantial before. That's something that I'm going to go have checked out. Something I don't know that I ever mentioned, but in the hospital, they did have me taking iron, and they said that my iron was low in the hospital, and they even had me take a prescription home, which I did not continue to take because I can't follow directions. Because apparently I'm like a child and need to be hand-fed medication to take it. I don't know. I stopped taking my prenatals too. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, I just kind of stopped taking care of myself, like paying attention to the stuff that I need to do to function and to be able to, nourish Lexi with my breast milk. Like, I don't know. I just stopped doing a lot of things, and I'm now realizing it. I don't know. So I'm going to look into that because it might be that my iron is low because I never followed my doctor's orders. So again, my fault because I can't listen and I know better, but I'm not doing better. We're doing better in 2020, or at least we're going to try to do better. That's my mantra. Everyone else is like got these crazy goals, and I'm like, I am just trying to take my prenatal vitamin again and not screw up my pump schedule. That's just all I'm doing in 2020. But no, it was rough. I was like really upset with myself. I mean, I did end up getting those ounces back, thankfully, because that was a different story with Sophie. With Sophie, by the time I noticed what I was doing and I learned what I needed to do to correct it, the damage had been done, and I lost a lot of ounces with her that I could not get back no matter what I tried. And that was just what happened. But thankfully this time, I think because I did notice a lot sooner and I knew what to do quicker, I was able to get those ounces back. But I mean, I'm still really upset with myself because I do know better. But I think it just goes to show that no matter how many times you do this, no matter how educated you might be, not to say that I am the queen of anything. I don't think of myself that way at all, and I hope that that comes across very well in these videos. But like, no matter where you are, no matter what level you are at anything, you can always make a mistake. So I'm trying to tell myself that that's what it is, and it's a learning process, and it's over now, but I don't know. No one's harder on myself than myself, so I have a hard time letting things go when it comes to me. So that all happened, and it was fun. Not, like I said, it was very stressful. But while that was all going on, like I said, she did get sick, and then also she started to not sleep well, and then there was just the holidays and stuff, and we just kind of stopped nursing. Again, no rhyme or reason. It wasn't intentional. It was just something that slowly got phased out, and both her and I are fine. Honestly, I think she might be a little better for it. I know everybody is different, but I've noticed her take to the bottle a lot easier, a lot better. She's more eager to eat. I mean, that could be an age thing. She could just be getting into a groove of like really enjoying her milk. I don't know, I'm just saying what I've noticed. And like I said, your kid might not be the same. It's just what I've noticed from mine. But she is obviously not missing me at all. She is completely fine without me, and I feel just fine not nursing. I don't miss it. She doesn't seem to miss it. Everyone's doing fine with that. But I mean, I'm glad I got to do what I did when I did, and I'm thankful for being able to do that. I know not everybody gets that opportunity, no matter what it looks like breastfeeding wise, no matter if you wanted to exclusively nurse, exclusively pump, like whatever. I know not everybody has the luxury of just doing whatever they want to do breastfeeding wise. So I'm thankful for the time we had to do that, and I've still feel thankful because we're still doing what we want, which is exclusively pumping, and it's been working out really well. And while we are talking about nursing and stopping nursing and stuff like that, I wanted to mention something that's kind of been weighing on me and something I haven't talked about because I was hoping that it would get better, but I feel like as time gets on, it just gets a little bit worse. And that is the fact that I don't think I've ever received so much criticism from the way that I've decided to breastfeed more than this time. I got so many messages and a lot of comments and just even an email or two that was like, why don't you just nurse? If you can nurse, you should just nurse. Or there'd be even people who were like, why don't you just exclusively pump? Like, why do you just nurse like a time or two here and there? That makes no sense. And it was like, wow, like okay. Like, I've never gotten that much criticism. Of course, there's people in the past who might not understand exclusively pumping and ask me why I do it, but hardly ever were there people who criticized me for it. I mean, there were some, but definitely not this many. And there was never so many people who actually had borderline offensive feelings about me nursing and pumping, which I just don't understand. Like I said, nobody is messaging me on Instagram yelling at me when I'm exclusively nursing in the hospital, and nobody was messaging me while I was exclusively pumping with Remy on Instagram and yelling at me for doing that. But somehow the combination of the two just sets people off, and I don't understand it. But I don't have feelings about it towards myself, because I could literally not care less about what other people think about me breastfeeding. It's my body. I'm nourishing my child. Figure out your own stuff before you come for me. It is literally nothing to do with you. But it makes me sad, because if they are willing to say that to me, they're willing to say it to other people. And that makes me sad that they're willing to just go out and have that narrative of, I can have an opinion on how somebody feeds their baby because it's not how I approve of. Like, how dare you? Like, no matter how anybody feeds their child, hardly ever is it an easy experience. You know what I'm saying? So it just makes me really sad for the people who are going to have to hear those comments, and they might care. It might affect more people than it doesn't, and that's just really sad to think of. Obviously, those kind of people, I think that they've got things going on in their own life that they want to distract themselves and maybe even act out negatively towards other people because of those things going on in their life. But that's not an excuse to be a crappy human being, in my opinion. I would say like 98% of you guys are super supportive in whatever ways I choose to breastfeed. I mean, even if we don't feed our kids the same way, you guys are just supportive, kind human beings who understand everybody does things differently. And then there's 2% of people who I feel bad other people have to encounter them, basically. So for you 2%ers out there, you can rest easy tonight and know that I am no longer nursing and pumping. I have chosen one, and that's what we're sticking to. I know it's been keeping you up at night, but not anymore. So that's my petty for this video, but just wanted to put that out there, that maybe think before you say things, because it's not always your business. Just a thought. So I don't know, just makes me upset and angry for other people, because being a mom, especially if you're a new mom, like if you've never had any kids before, I could not imagine if someone had came up to me when I had Sophie and was like, you do what? Why would you do that? Like, I feel like it's already a vulnerable enough position being a mom without people also trying to be jerks, to put it nicely. But anyways, I also want to bring you guys kind of up to speed on like my schedule now, what we're using, stuff like that. And I am every 3 to 4 hours during the day. And I only say 3 to 4 because like when I go volunteer at the preschool, by the time that we leave after I have just pumped to the time we get back and I'm able to pump again, it tends to be more about 4 hours. But I try not to make the 4 hours a habit if I don't have to, but it is there in times where if maybe, you know, I need to wait on pumping for just a little bit. There's a lot more flexibility, I guess, this time around than with Remy. With Remy, I was like, nope, it's every 3 hours I'm sitting down. I don't care what's happening. And I mean, that worked with Remy and what was going on in our lives. But now I need to be a little bit more flexible. So I am. So that's why I say every 3 to 4 hours, but typically it's more like every 3. And I am going about 6 hour stretch at night, and me dropping my middle of the night pump, I'm trying to think of when that was. I think it was around 3 months, and it was intentional this time. I know before I've said that I just started sleeping through alarms and I took that as a sign, but I was still getting up. However, I just needed the sleep. I was really, really exhausted in the morning. I was not wanting to take the girls to preschool. I was not wanting to get out of my bed at all. I just wanted to like sleep the whole morning. And I was like, that's not a healthy mindset. So we're going to drop the middle of the night pump. And now Mark and I kind of have a little routine. Okay, to explain our kind of schedule, I guess I need to explain her schedule. And she does lay down around 7 to 8 o'clock at night. And that's just when she's ready to go to bed. And we lay her down. She's normally fed either right before bed or like while we're laying her down. And then she'll sleep for about a few hours, 3, 4, give or take. And she will get intermittently up throughout the night, but a lot of them are dream feeds and she'll go back to sleep with an exception. And that's kind of where we get into our routine. So Mark goes to bed a lot earlier than I do. So from about, obviously, if he goes to bed earlier than this, it'll include that too. But he typically goes to bed around like 9 o'clock or so. Sometimes 8, sometimes 10, whatever. But from about that time that he goes to sleep to 1:30, I'm up. I'm a night owl. That's when I get my stuff done. And I am also getting her if she wakes up. And I will go in there and I will feed her and she will go back to sleep. And it's not until I go to bed at 1 or 1:30 that he starts getting up with her until he leaves for work at around like 5:30 in the morning. So that's the way we've kind of split up the night. But we started noticing that she's been getting up a lot more in the morning. And like around 3 o'clock, she would start getting up every hour and we couldn't figure it out. But we think she's developed not liking to sit in dirty diapers. The dream feeding works out great, but by 3 a.m. she has a completely soaked diaper because she's eating so much. So at 3 a.m. when he gets up with her, he changes her and he said that she actually went back to bed and she didn't get back up again until with me at like 6 o'clock. So that's been working out really well. And that's the way we've been doing things. Although 5 hours might not be enough sleep for me, especially when I have to go volunteer at the preschool and do other things with my life, YouTube, like everything. It's just not enough for me, I don't think. Which is strange for me to say because I literally don't like sleep. If I could stay up, I would. I hate doing it. It feels like a waste of time to me. That's how productive of a person I like to be, is I look at sleep as a waste of time. Like, the things I could get done in 5 hours? A lot. So I don't really like sleeping, but I can tell by my days and how I feel by the end of them and just everything that I think I need a little bit more sleep. So I might be going to bed a little bit earlier. Or I'll try. I don't know if I can at this point. I'm just hardwired to like not go to bed until a certain time. So something's gonna have to give. I also drink coffee now, so there's that. It doesn't do anything for me. I know a lot of people drink it for the caffeine. I could literally drink a cup of coffee right before bed and have no problem sleeping. Caffeine has never affected me, so I need to either get more sleep or find something that helps me feel a bit more energized. Maybe eating better. I don't know. I could do a lot of things. Take my vitamins, eat better, get more sleep, drink more water. She eats about every 2 to 3 hours. Sometimes 3 to 4, but the 2 to 3 is a lot more usual for her. She eats about 4 ounces, but I feel like that's been increasing lately. Maybe she's going through another growth spurt. When she is going through a growth spurt, I do notice a definite increase in what she's taking. She's been eating great, no problems whatsoever. Her weight gain has been great. I don't know what else to say. Like, everything's been working out really well for us. And now that I'm 100% exclusively pumping, I haven't noticed a difference with anything, really. And now that I've corrected everything that I was doing wrong and I'm on a bit more of a schedule and stuff like that, now I am doing better in that sense as well. And I feel like holding myself more accountable allows me to not be so stressed out. So it's been going good. There were good changes to make, because if I had just kept on the same track, I bet I would have lost a lot of my supply, and probably for good. It's been a stressful couple months, but I feel like finally I'm settling into like a groove and a routine. And that was kind of another reason why I didn't make any EP videos, is because, I wanted to do them. I love doing them. But I am also just like you guys, and that I am newly postpartum and I am still trying to figure my stuff out. And I definitely didn't just feel in the position, especially when I was angry with myself for like an entire month. I was like, how am I going to make a video telling people about exclusively pumping when I couldn't even follow a basic rule, like make a schedule and stick to it? Like, I don't know, I just really get inside my own head sometimes, but I'm feeling better now, and I feel like things are in a bit more of a groove, like I've said. And I am actually planning and doing notes so that next weekend I can film my first Exclusively Pumping series video, like an informational sit down topic kind of video. And as a little treat, if you made it this far in the video, I'll let you guys know that that video is going to be single pumping versus double pumping. It's something that I've gotten questions a lot over the years, especially because I do single pump. And I'm just going to kind of address all of that, and I'm going to go over it, and we're going to talk about it because I know you guys have a lot of questions about it. If there's a video that I haven't made yet for that EP series that you would like to see, make sure to put it in the comments below. And I also want to do vasospasms soon because it's something that is reoccurring this time around as well. And other than that, other than the vasospasms, I really haven't had any complications, thankfully. I think it's because of a balance that I've found. I don't count my ounces. I am keeping track of like how often I'm pumping, but I don't track my ounces just because I find that particularly stressful on me. I'll start stressing as to why this session didn't have that much and this one, I cannot. So for my own mental health, I don't track my ounces. But if I had to estimate based off of what I tend to see every 3 to 4 hours, like I said, I think I make anywhere between 75 to 90 ounces a day. And like I said, that is an oversupply. That's a big oversupply for the record, but it's not as big as what I had with Remy. And I think that's the reason why I haven't ran into so many complications with her this time around. So I'm thankful for that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that stands out to me. If I missed anything specifically, you guys could ask me in the questions below and I will answer those, of course. Like I said, if you guys have any questions, just leave them below for me. I'll be sure to answer them. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And as always, thanks for watching.